Hello Beauty Squad, it's your girl TeeTee. Welcome back to my channel of all things life, love, and beauty. I hope you guys are having a great winter. You're gonna hate me because it's nice here. It's like in the 70s here, and it's actually been really nice. There's some rain coming, but it's still been pretty nice here for the most part. But I'm back with another video today, and as most of you know, I turned 50 last year, and even as I was going into my 30s, mid 30s, and then 40s, and then mid 40s, and late 40s, and now 50, my makeup routine, it's my makeup routine, and what I like and what I don't like has significantly changed. And I think that has just come with age and time, you know, obviously. And definitely as I've gotten older, my taste in makeup is changing, and that's to be expected, right? And I've tweaked my makeup routine. I've always been more of a less is more, you know, kind of girl, but I find that, you know, now I'm definitely a less is more, you know, kind of girl, and it just works, you know, for me. And is there such a thing as age appropriate makeup? You know, I think we all want to be youthful and look young and do all that stuff like that. And some would say, you know, there are certain things you should or shouldn't be wearing, you know, as it relates to makeup, you know, once you get a certain age. I don't agree with that, because I think as long as, you know, it looks good, then go for it, right? I mean, as long as, you know, it's not looking crazy, because I mean, there could be a little bit, you know, of hesitation, you know, with some things and all that. But, you know, I, like a lot of people, I've always been more of kind of a neutral girl. Don't get me wrong, I love colors. I wear purples a lot, you know, wines or burgundies, you know, on my eyes and all of that. And I've tried to, over the years, incorporate more color into my makeup, which I have. So, you know, it's just, you know, some friends and I were talking, and, you know, makeup always, you know, comes up, and, you know, we start talking about, you know, well, I think I'm too old for this, or I'm too old for that. And no, I definitely don't think that. I think it's how you are, it's how you put it together has always been my thing. And, you know, do what works for you, you know, what works for, you know, your audience. And if it works, it works. If not, then you tweak it a little bit, you figure out what you like, and then you go from there. So as I turned 50 last year, and I've changed a couple things, you know, in my, you know, makeup, you know, routine, as well as my skincare, and that's a whole nother video. And I'm like, you know what? There are some things I realize I don't necessarily need to do any longer than I was doing, you know, probably in the last, you know, couple of years or so. So ultimately what I'm saying is, I'm just gonna bring y'all you know, like my top 7 items that I have changed in my makeup routine since turning 50 last year. Because there's obviously a lot of changes, you know, to your body, and just, you know, hormones and all that shit that takes place, you know, as we, you know, age, you know, as we get older. And I'm a big proponent of eating healthy. I drink a lot of water, and I'll be the first to tell you, I lucked up. I got some good genes, you know, playing on my side too. And, you know, I keep, you know, my whole body just hydrated. And it's not perfect by any means, but I've definitely learned that when I was like in my late 30s going into my 40s, I started really getting more health conscious. Don't get me wrong, I love french fries, I love Doritos, all that. I just don't eat them as often as I used to. And, you know, I stopped, you know, eating a lot of bad stuff long time ago. And, you know, your diet impacts your skin, you know, as well too. to me, the fountain of youth, y'all might not agree with this, but I'm gonna say it. The fountain of youth is vodka. And that is just, I watched this lady on the news. She was 100 years old, and they asked her, what did she do to make it this far? And she said vodka. I said, I'm on the right track. Because I don't drink really anything outside of water and alcohol. There's nothing in between. No sodas, no teas, nothing like that. It's water or it's alcohol, wine, stuff like that. So vodka is the fountain of youth. And if you don't drink, I'm sorry, I apologize. But for me, vodka is the fountain. It's the fountain of youth. So I'm going to bring you my top 7, items that I've changed in my makeup routine that I've changed, that I've tweaked, and I just feel I don't need to do, I just don't need to do as much anymore. So before we get into that, you know what to do. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You're already here. Don't forget to hit the little bell so you know when my videos have been uploaded. So let's just get into this conversation. Age appropriate makeup, less is more type of makeup. My top 7 makeup tricks that I've changed since turning 50. Lord Jesus, stay tuned. All right, so let's get started. Don't mind that ugly ass closet in the back. It's gonna be gone soon. You probably didn't even notice it, but now that I brought it to your attention, don't even look back there. But this room is just undergoing some changes. But anyway, so let's get into my top 7 steps. There you go, steps in my makeup routine that I've tweaked a bit since turning 50, as well as getting older. Number 7, or I have them written down. I'm just like, what kind of order was I writing in when I did this? Okay, number 1, moisturize. And I have oily skin, as I said before, especially here in the T-zone. When it's summertime, my entire face is oily. So winter, it's obviously been really dry, and I've had to definitely moisturize more than I normally do. But I've definitely, have a good cleanser and a couple other, toners and things like that, skin essences and serums, that I use. But I have definitely found that a good moisturizer has been just key for me as I begin my makeup application. And then even when I do, apply my moisturizer, I apply it and I'll let it sit on my face, for a minute or two before I just go right into, my makeup routine. And I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you a couple of moisturizers that I use. I got this one from Pixi. I like this one. It's a rose ceramide cream. It's an intensive moisturizer. I use this, a lot of days. And then I just got another one of this from Fresh, and this is the Youth Preserve moisturizer. I really like this. It's a little on the pricier side. I think it's about $50 for this, but it's like the bomb. It's the bomb. So I've definitely, in my opinion, stepped up my moisturizer game, because skincare I go through pretty regularly because I use that every day, twice a day. But definitely I've stepped up my moisturizing routine, and I really like that one right now, or that's definitely what I've been using. So number 2 is foundation. Now, I am not a full coverage foundation kind of girl at all. We know I'm totally committed to the Double Wear from Estee Lauder. But what I've been doing, and I've said this in one of my other videos, is I take this because it is a matte finish because I'm oily, and I'll take a hydrating foundation and I'll mix them together. I'll do about a pump of this and probably a half a pump of this, or sometimes, it's usually about a pump of this, pump and a half of this, and maybe a half a pump of this. So, you know, total, you know, 2 good pumps. But my makeup, you know, definitely doesn't look cakey or anything like that. Because I think if you put on too much foundation, it starts to look heavy and it will age you almost instantly. And as I've said, as we've all said a million times, make sure, you know, whatever your skin type is, you have a foundation that's radiant, you know, it's hydrating, and it matches your skin. So you match it to your neck, not the back of your hand, but your neck, and that's how you determine, you know, your foundation shade. But I tend to stick with these two. I also have the foundation from Anastasia, which kind of looks like this NARS one here, but this is radiant too, so sometimes I'll mix this in too. And that's what I stick with as far as foundation. I don't venture out much outside of that because that's what works, and I don't need other foundations. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do like the Born This Way foundation, and I've actually used that one up. I will probably get another one of those, but if I had to pick my top 4 foundations, it's these 3 and the Born This Way foundation. All right, number 3, concealer. So the under eye area is definitely, it's a delicate area and it's a dry area, you know, too. So I've definitely been leaning or reaching more for radiant type of concealers. So meaning a NARS concealer and the Born This Way concealer. And I don't get them as light as I used to anymore. I might get them my skin tone, which I have, this is Butterscotch, which is my skin tone. And this is Caramel, which is probably a shade lighter than this. But and I'll mix them together. So I have a, you know, light and my skin tone and mix them together, and just don't overdo it on the foundation. But I do make sure whatever foundation, or I'm sorry, concealer I do use is hydrating, because this under eye area here, for me, it's been dry and I need something radiant and hydrating, you know, under there. And then what I've been doing too is I've been applying, you know, my concealer obviously with a very wet beauty blender, and that has definitely helped. All right, number 4, setting powders. So setting powders are more, I'm going to say I use them in the beginning of my complexion routine. I'll use them, you know, right after I use my moisturizer, and then I'll just kind of dust on, you know, the Laura Mercier, you know, translucent powder over my face. And I'm usually really, really good with that. Because I'm oily, that tends to keep my oil at bay during the day, and I'm usually good on that. I stopped using as many powders as I did before, because if you use too many powders, they will age you too. Almost instantly, you know, they will age you. So that was number 4. Number 5, and this is a debate too, is eyeshadow palettes. We all have a ridiculous, enormous amount of eyeshadow palettes in our collection. You've seen my collection, and you know, so far this year, I think I've purchased, oh God, maybe 2 eyeshadow palettes so far, you know, this year. And, you know, my Jackie Aina palette is my go-to. It stays close to me. I reach for it for one reason or another. It's really the only consistent palette, you know, in my arsenal of eyeshadow palettes. It's a great looking palette. It doesn't have a lot of bright colors in it, but you know, it's got some shimmer, some pressed glitter colors, which I don't have a problem, you know, with. But then you look at something like Amrezy, which this is what I'm wearing today. I'm actually wearing both Jackie Aina and Amrezy's palette. And you know, this is a subtle palette as well too. You know, Leo is probably the brightest color, you know, in here. The pressed glitters, I haven't really messed with those too yet because my dumb ass will get it in my eye and go blind, you know, something like that. So I haven't really messed with those, but the other ones I've definitely used. And that's, you know, why I say, you know, don't be afraid to wear color. It's okay as long as it doesn't look crazy. And just because you're older doesn't necessarily mean that you still can't have fun with makeup. It's all in how, you know, you put it together. And if you go in with the blue eyeshadow, like, you know, for example, from this palette, look like Mimi from Drew Carey, that's something different. But you can use, you know, the blue in here, and it doesn't have to be this crazy, you know, color. And I think you can still get away with wearing color. Don't be afraid to wear color. And I'm going to say it, Niecy J, don't be afraid to wear shimmer either. You know, again, as long as it's, you know, it's subtle, it's not overwhelming, because you don't want to look like you're something crazy. It's just something, you know, you don't necessarily want to look like. But, you know, this palette, I reviewed this palette, and it has definitely grown on me more than when I first got it. I've used it, you know, a few more times and done some more looks with it. You know, is it a good everyday palette? It can be, because there's definitely, you know, she likes neutral colors, so there's definitely neutral colors, you know, in there, you know, for sure. But, you know, eyeshadow is where I really feel you can really express who you are, you know, the colors you want to wear. You know, again, there's a way to apply them without making, you know, yourself look like a clown, you know, or anything like that. All right. And then number 6, as I spoke about powders, I do less baking now. And I say that, you know, again, because the under eye area is so dry. I just found that I don't necessarily need to do that. And some of it, you know, if I do it too much, it'll make my under eyes just look old and saggy, and I don't like that. I don't know anyone who likes that. So what I've been doing instead, and not to say that I'm not going to use any of the setting powders, the baking powders that I have, I'll just, you know, use them maybe just under my eye. But the powders that I love is the Studio Fix from MAC. This is the C6 powder. I love this. You know, anything Studio Fix from MAC is always good. And a really good palette or under eye, you know, setting powder is the Charlotte Tilbury. I mean, this airbrush flawless finish, can't go wrong with this. You absolutely cannot go wrong with this. And again, this is something that I apply with a beauty blender, wet it, dip it in here, and I'll just set, you know, my under eyes from there and be done. If you don't have this powder, you need it in your life. I just don't do all of that baking anymore. I'm not going to say that I'm never going to do it again. I just do it. I find it that I do it less and less all the time. And today, all I did was use this powder to set my concealer. You know, I have lines, so yeah, you know, there's product is going to get in there. That's just the nature of the beast. But I used this today, and I was done. I was done. Out the door, done. That was it for my concealer. I've never been one that's taken my concealer and just do the whole triangle thing. I don't need all that. I dot it here. Sometimes I do it with my hand. Set it with one of these two powders, and I'm done. And lastly, number 7. So when you decide to wear color, you know, you're going to step out of that comfort zone and wear some color. You know, I always think a nude lip is always a good way to go. It will also soften a look to me as well too. And I'm not saying you can't wear a bold lip color, because you absolutely can. And even with this look, you know, I had I tried a red on, you know, with it. And then I switched, you know, to a nude, because nude, again, will soften a look. I bought this lipstick from Too Faced, and it was part of their nude collection. They came out a couple years ago. Love this. Stuck some of my Fenty gloss on top of it. I was done, out the door. And you can never go wrong with a nude lip. You know, again, I think it softens a look. And, you know, whether your eye makeup is, you know, bold or it's subtle, nothing is going to soften the face quite like, to me, like a nude lip will. A bold lip will definitely bring attention to it. Absolutely, because it's going to stand out. But I've definitely gone more nude, definitely in the last, you know, several months, just to kind of soften, you know, the look a little bit. And every now and then I'll get a little froggy and do, you know, a bold lip. So, you know, I'm still, you know, do what you want to do what makes you comfortable. It's all in what I like or what you like. It's what we like and what makes us feel good about ourselves. I just know for me, as I've gotten, you know, older, and, you know, the makeup that's coming out, you know, some of it, they totally cater to a younger audience, and that's fine, you know, but I definitely have a core, you know, makeup routine or process that I stick to, and I tweak, you know, and I tweak it, you know, accordingly. So, you know, is there such a thing as age appropriate makeup? I mean, to each his own, you know, and I don't like to be, like most of us, put into a box to tell us what we should or shouldn't be doing at our age. I think you can do whatever you want to do as long as it looks good to you, because that's all that counts. If you want to do a dramatic cut crease, a smoky eye, go for it. As long as, you know, it looks good to you, that's all that counts. So more to come on that as my makeup continues to change, you know, as I get older, you know, as we all age. Our taste in makeup changes, you know, just how we apply it changes. I mean, there are just some things I just have never done a lot of. You know, contouring is one. I might contour my nose, you know, periodically, but, you know, I'm just a less is more, you know, kind of girl. I work with what I was given, and, you know, I'll go from that. But let me know what you guys think. You know, aging is just a part of life, and you got to go with it. Take care of yourself. Do whatever makes you happy. And that ultimately is, you know, the best advice I've ever been given, and I give to you. And, you know, makeup is no different. Do what you like, you know, because as long as you like it, that is really all that counts. So let me know what you guys think. I am loving 50. I've embraced it, and I'm okay with it. You know, it's just a number. It does not define who or what I am. So I'm just going to age gracefully with all the makeup that I have. Let me know what you guys think. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Please comment. Give me questions. Would love to hear your thoughts. Is there such a thing as age appropriate makeup? You know, again, it's you know, whatever you feel. But until next time, your girl TeeTee is